Welcome. In this video, we would be discussing an Excel-based project management template, which is designed for project managers, business analysts, or Scrum Masters who are looking for a low-cost Excel-based solution. So this template has been designed considering the Waterfall approach for a higher level planning and Agile approach for more granular task planning. So let's start off with the navigation and notes tab because this is the key tab which gives you a full detail of how many tabs are available, what what purpose each tab serve, the critical inputs involved in each of them, and the dependent tabs as well. The next tab is the dashboard. The dashboard, it provides you a high level overview of the project progress, the sprint progress, how many story points are completed, how many are in progress, what is pending, even the risk analysis, the issue score, the project cost analysis. So all of this information is gathered through visuals in this dashboard tab. Next up is the project notes. The purpose of this tab is to record all of your important project information. So for example, you would be adding your project goals, description, key deliverables. So all of the information that you want to record for your project, you can add them into the project notes. Now, two critical inputs within this tab is the project start date and the project end dates. These two inputs are then further linked to other tabs. Moreover, this list of key stakeholders, this is also one very important one, which is then linked into other tabs as well. Now, coming towards the resource allocation tab. This resource allocation tab is designed to manage all of your resources required for your project. What would be their department, the hourly rate, resource start and end date, the budget allocation for each of the resource. Now, some of the color themes that are being followed within this template is for input, you would have always this indication of peach cells. Whenever there is a drop down select, you would have this orange indication, and this gray cell indication says that all of these columns are calculated columns. So no changes should be made within the calculated columns. Next up is the Gantt chart. Over here, you would be planning out your project in a more high level way. So for example, this is all sample data currently. So this is, you can say, your high level tasks or parent tasks, start date and end date of each of these tasks. Now, data validation is applied on this to ensure that these dates do not surpass the project start or project end date. Then we are calculating the duration, we are assigning which team would be managing each of these tasks. And all of these columns, these are calculated columns that have information coming in from the other upcoming tabs that we would be discussing going forward. One thing over here is that we have a complete Gantt chart being displayed over here. Over here, you have the flexibility to either show this weekly, or you can even show it daily or monthly. So for example, if I make it daily, then we would be able to see the results daily. Now, the next very important tab is the backlog management. Now, this tab is utilized to plan out your tasks in a very granular level. So, for example, Gantt chart that was utilized to plan out your higher level task. Over here, you would be breaking them down into single tasks that would be assigned to a single resource. Now, alongside that, you would also be linking each of those granular tasks to the parent tasks. Why that is important? Because then the progress of these tasks is calculated through that. So linking it to the right parent task is very important. You can define priority levels, impact levels, the story points, who created the task, what is the designation of it, when it was created, and then the task status. Over here, you would also be assigning, as the time goes forward, these tasks to specific sprints. So for example, we have assigned these 3 tasks, sprint number 1 and then to sprint number 2. So this is a drop down that is coming in from sprint planner that we would be discussing next. Over here again, you would be adjusting this task status just to keep it in check which tasks are still in backlog and which have been completed, which have been assigned to a specific sprint. Next up is the sprint planner. So over here you would be defining sprint ID, the goal of the sprint, the duration of the sprint. Again, this would be based on which the timeline should be within the project timeline. And then all of these columns, these are calculated columns coming in from the sprint tracker. Now, this is the sprint task tracker. The sprint task tracker is designed so that it will only show the sprints that have been assigned. So, for example, in the backlog management, we assigned 3 sprints in total. So, we have 3 sprints shown over here alongside all of the tasks that were assigned to each of these sprints, the relevant parent tasks of these sprints, and then we would also be adding an estimate timeline to complete these tasks. We will be assigning the resource responsible for completing these tasks. The designation gets calculated automatically from resource allocation, the priority, the story points. After that, you would be manually adjusting the task status. So as the progress moves on, you can adjust the task status and then the progress percentage gets updated. So for example, over here I have done, if I make it in progress, it goes back to 50%. So over here we have all of the sprint progress criteria defines what percentage is assigned to each of the task status. So to do is 0%, 50% rolled over. You can define the tasks if some task is rolled over as if it would continue from where it ended, or it could be started all over again. Now going forward, this sprint tasks tracker, you can see the sprint progress of each of these tasks within this Burndown Chart tab. Over here you have the burndown analysis and the velocity analysis. Now this tab is designed to analyze maximum 3 sprints. So over here you would select whichever sprint you want to analyze and you can then see the result displayed over here. Right now, the dropdown only shows 3 sprints. That is because the sprint task tracker only have 3 sprints added into it. Now, the next tab is the budget tracker. Over here, you can add your budget, the cost categories, the estimate cost, and then the actual cost, and the variance gets calculated automatically. Over here, one thing is that the resource cost, the cost of resources assigned, this is calculated automatically. This is the estimated cost, and this estimated cost is coming in from this resource allocation tabs based on the total work hours and the hourly rates that you define for each of your resources. And the resource that you assign for sprint tasks, the resource start and end date gets calculated automatically based on which sprints they are assigned to. The next tab is the risk and issue log. Over here, you can record all of the risks that you have identified, the issues that have been identified, and keep track of those. So, for example, you can select whether it is an issue or a risk. Then risk category, we have these risk categories defined within the data validation tab. You can adjust those as well. Who was the resource that raised this risk or an issue, the designation, then the assigned team who would be managing this risk or resolving the issue, the priority level of it, the status of it, the impact level, and the likelihood. The risk score is being calculated based on the impact level and the likelihood that you select for either the risk and the issue, and then the mitigation or the resolution plan that you define for it. And then you can also add the target resolution date and the actual resolution date. Next up is the deployment checklist. Over here, you can again record a full list of your deployment action items, the owner of that specific action or task, the designation of it, the status, the priority levels, any dependencies, your expected due date. Once it's completed, you can add the completion date and then the approvals as well. If whether the completion after the completion it requires an approval or not. And then the approval. This approval list is coming in from the stakeholders list that we saw within the project notes tab. Now at the end we have this data validation tab. Now all of the drop downs that we saw within the template that is linked through this tab. Over here we have the color coding defined as well, and then all of the statuses. So in case you need to adjust any of the drop down values, you would be coming to the data validation tab and then you would be adjusting these over here. If any further customization is required, you can apply those customization yourself as well. The Excel sheet is not locked, it is fully customizable, or if you require our support, you can reach out to us. I hope this was helpful. Thank you very much.